Hey troopers, Will here,
Chloe.
and we are here today to celebrate. The time has come. Execute episode 66 begins now, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. We're celebrating the 66th episode of the Com Chatter. I can't believe it's lasted this long, but I'm very glad. Here's to the next 66 episodes. If you're wondering why you can see us a little bit better, we have a new addition to the
setup.
Yeah, I was going to say studio, but to the setup. We have a little ring light here, so yeah, might make it look a little bit better for you guys. So, especially because we don't want the sun coming through and blinding you guys today. So yes, welcome to our 66th episode. We are going to be talking all about episode 66. We're going to be talking about what we think is our saddest moments. We're going to be talking about survivors, people who knew the plan, stuff like that. We also have Star Wars Meme of the Week. That is back. I'm very pleased about this Meme of the Week. I chose this one. I think it's very relevant and very funny, I think.
Yeah.
So that's for you guys later, and obviously we've got Troopers of the Week as well. But as we've been doing lately, we start the show off with with latest projects, like news and latest products reviewed, that was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. So we've got quite a few. We've got a couple of vintage collection, we've got a couple of Black Series figures, a couple of Funko Pops, a couple of Loungefly bags, and yeah, I think a Hasbro Pulse as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so shall we get in? Shall we go and talk about those? Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, starting us off, we have Sabine Wren as a vintage collection. What do you think?
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
It's from the Ahsoka series. This one.
Yes, this one is the Ahsoka series. Sabine.
So there's quite a few figures from the new show coming out.
I think the face looks pretty good, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think she looks a lot like how we've seen in the trailer and like how the actress looks. And I don't think we've really had Sabine figures before, so yeah, it's nice to have more characters.
Yep. I like the fact that she's got the little lightsaber on her waist, and she's got the two blasters. So obviously, if you'd rather her with the lightsaber, I believe it comes with the actual green, which I think would be cool. I quite like the figure. I think it looks quite, for considering it's vintage collection, tiny, I'd say it looks pretty on point. Yeah. So that's the first one. We have then obviously Ahsoka. Again, I like this one. I think the likeness to Rosario is pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it definitely looks like her. And the markings on her Leku and stuff are really cool. And I like how her lightsabers are kind of translucent. They're not just white.
Yeah.
That makes really cool.
And I like how they do the lightsabers have a slight curve to them. I know it's quite hard to do a curve on a lightsaber, but on a little bit of plastic, because that's a little detail that they probably would have just been we'll just give her two lightsabers and detail them. But they've added a little bit of a curve in there, which Ahsoka got. So I think that's that's a plus from me. We have Admiral Thrawn. Yes. I like this figure.
I have a feeling you'll be getting this one.
Maybe he doesn't go with my other clones, but I like him. I think he looks good.
Yes.
Um,
I feel like it's going to be a popular one, given
Yes.
the reaction to Thrawn.
Very true. I think the uniform looks good. I think his face looks. I think his face is a little bit off compared to how accurate the other two were,
Mhm.
but you can definitely see Lars Mikkelsen's
Yeah.
Thrawn there. It's not just like someone else's.
Yeah.
But I quite like that one. Should be a good one. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh.
Now this is one that I will be getting.
Yes.
Not might be. I will be getting this one. This is my boy. This is Revan in the vintage collection. And again, if you guys are unaware what a vintage collection is, they are this size. So
I think they're 3.75.
something
I
like
think that's
that.
the measurement.
But yeah, so they're this size. So they're not massive, but they're not tiny. But I reckon this is the first one we've had as a vintage collection Revan, I think. Lightsabers look good. His tunic and outfit.
Yeah.
As Daz Game says, chef's kiss. Because, and also, in case you guys are wondering, he does come with the hood.
Yeah.
Now, I know that is like his signature look with the hood, and it's very rare that we see a Darth Revan, shall we say, without the hood.
Mhm.
But that is an accessory. I believe it's hard plastic from what I've seen in the pictures.
Mhm.
But 100%, I will be getting this figure. I was hoping for Christmas, but I believe these lot are coming out
In
the
January.
1st of January, I believe. So just after Christmas, you're going to be spending all your money on these figures. But yeah, no, I really like this one. This has got a lot of people saying that, or speculating, shall we say,
Mhm.
that Revan's going to show up in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
If he does, I generally might pass out. But that's me. It's Revan. It's my boy.
I feel like it was a bit like, because all the other ones were Ahsoka characters, that's why people were thinking this is just.
I think there was one that wasn't Ahsoka,
Yeah.
which is the next one, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But
out of all the Ahsoka characters, and then there's this Revan, everyone's like, oh, is he gonna turn up? Is it like a world between worlds kind of situation?
could you imagine that, a world between worlds and Revan steps through? Oh my god! Oh my days! Everyone
Who's gonna
can't.
play him? Keanu Reeves.
I hope.
I like how he's all like torn apart.
He
Like
is.
his cape and stuff.
It's good, isn't it? Even though it's fabric, it still looks pretty good. Vizsla. Now, you said they done. I haven't got the photos of the Black Series one, but you said there was a Black Series version
Yes.
as well as a vintage collection.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you prefer?
I think this one.
I think so too.
Yeah. I quite like
Yeah.
this one.
I think he
It's very
looks.
detailed.
I think he looks pretty good. He looks pretty
Yeah.
menacing. I like the little flames coming out the jetpack.
Yeah.
Now, something I did find out, the Black Series one,
Mm-hmm.
someone said it's nice that they've got a Vizsla figure, but apparently the body is just a Jango Fett body.
I've read this too. Yeah.
So clearly they haven't put that much detail into it, but this one looks good. Probably not going to get him because I don't have any Death Watch association really in terms of my collection, but definitely a cool one. Here's one. Maybe this is one for Rural.
Yes.
4 Imperials, little collection. I think you're looking at about 50 quid for that one. I think
Yeah.
because I think that's the same price as the 212
Yeah, the
with
clearance
wax
set.
on that.
Yeah, I think they're between like £50 and £60.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting though because we've got an Imperial set of figures. Now I don't know who the Imperials are. Feel free to come back and check it out and let us know.
Yeah.
Earth Day Chewie. This is probably not going to be a popular one. Now I know you haven't seen it, but this is from the holiday special. Now, a lot of people are not fans of this, and I can tell you why. It's not very good. But they've decided to make a Earth Day Chewy.
Is it Earth Day? Or is it Life Day?
Life Day, sorry.
Life Day
Life
Chewy.
Day. What was it? Earth Day? Life Day Chewy.
Yes.
With his little globe and his little Life Day robe. I don't see this being a major big figure, like a popular one. I think probably just the collectors who want to collect everyone will want this one, unless a little kid wants Chewy in a jumper. If so, good luck.
I think it looks quite cute, but I've not seen the holiday special, so I'm not sure what it's referencing.
Please don't. Okay, so now we have the Black Series figures. These ones are all holiday themed. So
last year we had quite a few with like C-3PO and BB-1 and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're a bit random, but they're quite fun.
Yeah, this is definitely a random selection as well. So we've got an Ewok with with a little snow porg, I believe that is. We have a Death Watch Trooper with Babu Frick. Now I quite like that Death Trooper with the little
like a holiday sweater.
Yeah, and he's got like Mando's ship on it by the looks of it.
Yeah.
But I think that's quite a cool
love
one.
the little Babu Frick, he's so cute. I'd probably get it just for that.
I gotta be honest, it's just weird because it's just such a weird combo, isn't it? You know, why on earth have we got an Ewok and a Pog and a Death Watch and
Babu Frick.
Unbelievable. Okay.
This one's funny.
So this one is a Purge Trooper in the Nutcracker uniform and painting with a mouse tree.
I love the pose they've put him in.
Yeah. I quite like the blaster on that one though. I think it looks quite good.
Yep.
Hey, we have
Salacious
Crumb and a Santa Jawa, bringing you all the merry cheer Jawas do at Christmas.
What do you mean?
Oh, teeny
Merry
Utini for you too. Now we've got here a Snow Trooper with a snowman painting, a snowman themed rifle, and a what do they call it? A
Dr. Bull.
Dr. Bull.
Well, that's the name of it in Robot Chicken Star Wars, but
Well,
I'm not sure the actual.
Well, it's an interrogation
Canon
droid,
name.
isn't it? So
Yeah, the one that tries to inject Leia on the stuff.
yeah. Wow. That's another one for you. What else we got? Oh, look, we got
K2SO and BB-1.
Yes. This one's very simple. This is just two holiday themed droids looking cute.
I just noticed like K2SO's belly bit is kind of like candy cane. Like a stripe.
Yes. Good spot. I didn't notice that.
Cool.
Okay, so this one isn't Christmas themed. Way. So this is R2D2 from The Mandalorian, apparently.
Yeah.
So this is the one that turns up with Luke.
I feel like that one's going to be very popular.
You reckon?
Yeah, because he's got all his little.
He has lots of accessories for you to equip him
He's
with.
got like his little screwdriver thing.
Yeah, he's got his little viewfinder. He's got his little electric prong. He's got his little antenna. Hey, so now we got the Ahsoka figures. Again, obviously, as it's her show coming up, this is probably going to be a very popular figure. Looks quite good.
This one, I must say, looks basically exact to the Mandalorian Ahsoka that we had before.
Oh, really?
But I think her head towels are a little bit longer to match the ones in Ahsoka. But other than that, it looks very, very similar to me.
No. Face-wise, what do you reckon?
Very good. Yeah.
Yep, looks quite good.
I just think a lot of people probably won't get this one if they've Or
if they've already
the
got
other
them.
Ahsoka
Yep.
in the same outfit.
Now we have one of the Rebels' favourite pilots, Harrison Dulula. I think, again, looks quite good. Quite a simple figure.
Mhm.
Nothing crazy.
Mhm.
The face looks quite good, I think, from the Ahsoka series trailers that we've seen.
Mhm.
Again, probably going to be a popular one, I reckon.
I know there's a lot of Hera fans, so I reckon she might
Mhm.
be popular, yeah.
And we got Sabine in
Black Series.
Black Series. Again, I think looks very good. Face, again, is even better than the vintage collection one, in my opinion. The colouring on the on the boots,
And stuff.
yeah, looks very good. The helmet looks very good as well,
Mhm.
which is quite cool.
Yeah. It's always nice to have another Mando figure.
Again, probably going to be another popular one.
Mhm.
Okay, so now we move on to the Black Series Ahsoka lightsaber they revealed. Personally, it looks very nice. I'm not going to get it because it's just I'm not that massive on Ahsoka.
Mhm.
But if you are into collecting the Black Series lightsabers, or you've got them, you might want to add this one to your collection. You made a point when we first noticed it. It only comes with one of them.
Yes. So I'm guessing this is the longer one.
Yes.
But obviously Ahsoka has a shorter one as well. So I'm not sure why they've only got one.
Maybe this isn't confirmed or that. Maybe the second little one gets destroyed in the series, and she only uses one, because there is clips in the trailer where she only uses that one, I believe.
Yeah.
Against Baylan or something. So maybe she loses the little one. But I think it's quite a nice one. It's a very simple lightsaber. I'm expecting this one, I would say, to be cheaper than the sort of Vader and Kenobi one, I reckon. Just because of the details on it. When you look how little there is.
Curved.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm not sure. Maybe it'll be around the same.
Possibly. I just think because it's like, when you look at the details on that one compared to something like Vader's or Kenobi's, there's so much more work that goes into those ones than to that. But then again, this one's curved. Okay, so Hasbro Lab also introduced the current project, the Ghost in Vintage Collection. Now, if any of you have seen the videos and pictures, you will know that this thing is massive. It's like a proper handful. It's huge. You can definitely look inside. Gives you quite a good detailed inner look at the Ghost, which I hope we get in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
But I just think it's really cool.
From Rebels.
Yes. Comes with a Phantom 2, sorry, with Chopper.
That's so cute. Little Chopper in it.
Again, there's another little look at it with the Phantom 2 on it. Again, I think it's quite a cool one. Obviously, this one, is it crowdfunded? No, not crowdfunded. It's project funded at the minute, so it needs a certain amount of interest before they make this permanent, like actually make it as a product. I believe it's about 500 quid, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure in pounds, but I think
it's like $500.
$500, yeah.
Now, if I am not mistaken, the next ones I'm going to show you are the levels of the fundraiser thing. So each tier will unlock another character from the show. So obviously you get Hera with it anyway. Quite a cool one. I like the fact that all of these ones, the art is from the wall, from Sabine's wall, which I think is really cool. But yeah, so you get Hera with the Ghost anyway, Chopper's already there, but he doesn't get his own like card or picture or that.
Mhm.
Ezra, you get a cool Ezra. I quite like this one, to be honest. I think comes with Loafcat, comes with the different hilts, blaster. His face looks pretty good, and he comes with the helmet as well, which again I like. So this is, I can't remember if I got the tiers order right, but this is 1 tier. I think this is like tier 2. Kanan, this is tier 1, I believe. Anyway, again, changeable face. To me, that's sick.
Yeah,
That's incredible. It
which
looks
we don't
good.
really get with many figures. Usually, it's like the clones where you get
With the
this helmet, but
Yeah.
not an actual like head that you take off.
I really like that.
Yeah.
And we got Zeb. I believe Zeb is the last tier that you can get. Looks very good, to be honest. Again, I like how all the art is the wall pictures in the background. One thing that I will say is, yes, I know that we're getting a vintage collection Sabine from Ahsoka.
But it's not Rebels.
There's not one for this set. And I feel like they've kind of missed out on that. Again, yes, I know they probably don't want to create 2 separate Sabines, but they make a whole point of you want to come collect the whole set, and I just feel like you can't really have the Ghost without Sabine, really.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit disappointed with that you haven't got a Sabine version with with the wall art, but still looks very good. Okay, so these were the lounge fly bags. I know you are a fan of the lounge fly. So this is the little black chrysanthemum purse, shall we say? Again, I'm not sure on prices, but I believe that's going to be about 40 quid. I'm just going by knowledge on what I know from another lounge fly purse to go with a bag. So about 40 quid, I reckon. And then we have the actual lounge fly bag. A little bit furry, a little bit menacing. I can imagine that's quite itchy on your back on a summer's day.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in like, a short sleeve top or something, that is going to be quite itchy.
Yeah.
I think if you have a pet, they're not going to like this one. They're going to be growling. They're not going to be happy with that one. It looks okay, in my opinion. I just think it's a bit too hairy, furry. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't quite think about how when you're holding it and stuff on a hot day. Too hot. It's kind of like carrying a blanket. But yeah, these ones were ones that got announced at San Diego. It's large fly.
And the TIE fighter pilot.
Yep.
This one's okay, a bit simple. I mean, I quite like the top bit with the sort of half sort of grey and the other half sort of like a red light-ish. I think that's quite cool. Obviously, you got a little sort of TIE pilot thing. And you got this little like tube like bit that you see with him connecting as well on each side, which is quite cool.
Oh, that's cool. And we got a TIE fighter little zip.
Yeah, that's also quite a cool little addition to it. So here we have some Funkos that was announced that I didn't pick up on. So we've got Little Leia with Lola. We have this one is the soda can pop or bottle pop. So it's not like so it's not like the normal ones. Looks okay. Looks quite big. I don't know what. Again, because it's a picture, we don't know the actual size of it, but looks quite big. A lot of people might get this one, I reckon, because of who it is. Clone Wars Dooku versus Anakin.
That's quite cool.
Looks quite cool. A lot of people already have this one, but a battle between these two as a duo set, I'd probably say is quite up there. I also believe that is it for the for the, shall we say, news, we spent 25 minutes talking about that. That's crazy, isn't it? All
Wow.
this stuff.
There was a lot announced though.
Yeah.
So.
But now we're going to start talking about the real reason we're here. Episode 66, Order 66. I know I've been looking forward to this episode. I know you have as well. And yeah, so we're going to be talking. We've got a couple of different things to talk about. So, again, if you guys don't know what Order 66 is, I don't know what you're doing listening to this podcast. But in case you don't, Order 66 was the order given by Palpatine at the very end of the Clone Wars to basically have all the clones turn on the Jedi and just wipe them out.
Yep.
And with great success, it worked.
Yep.
I'd probably say through Order 66, I would say probably 95% of the Jedi were killed during that, I reckon. Might be a bit high, maybe 90%, but a lot of the Jedi, most of the Order was destroyed and finished through Order 66. Now, it's also a very, shall we say, important number in regards to Star Wars fans.
Yep.
If you go to McDonald's, KFC, any of these fast food places, if you get Order 66, you know you're like, yeah, I've had it once, and I was at a restaurant and I had to do a video on the time has come. Execute Order 66. But it's a very important moment, if not the most important moment, within the Star Wars franchise, in my opinion. Just because, you know, it was the end of, you know, the Jedi and the Republic in a way. Yeah? So we have a couple of talking points about Order 66 for you guys. So first thing we're going to talk about is all the people that knew about Order 66. So there's actually more people than you realize, because the initial thought of Order 66 is people say Palpatine, or it's Palpatine. Yeah. No, obviously, yeah. So we're going to go through the list and we're going to mention them and how much we think they knew about Order 66. So obviously we're going to start off with Palpatine. This is probably I'd say the most obvious one. This was his plan. This was his idea. He knew what he wanted to do from the very start. Absolutely. He knew this was his brainchild. And he
had been plotting it for years.
Also on the list we have Count Dooku. He also knew about Order 66 completely. He was under the impression with Palpatine that he was going to still be by Palpatine's side after Order 66, because this was part of their plan. You know, he planned this with Palpatine in a way. You know, not every bit of it, but you know, he was instrumental in basically doing Cypher Diaz and going under his pretense that he was the one wanting the clone army. He was also the one who deleted the archives.
Yes, in Tales of the Jedi.
So when Obi-Wan's looking for Kamino and he can't find it, it's because Count Dooku got rid of it from the system.
And he hired Jango Fett. So he got the template to all the clones.
So he picked the template. You know, it wasn't like you. You come in. So you definitely, those two knew about it. Lama Su, Prime Minister of Kamino, 100% in my opinion knew about this. that he would have had to have planned this with Sidious and Palpatine. Maybe not Sidious as much. I think he would have gone through Count Dooku,
yeah.
because we see them talking in the Clone Wars. But I would say yes, Lama Su definitely also a major part of it, and kept it very quiet.
Because I think in Attack of the Clones, as far as Lama Su knows, it's an order made by Cypher Diaz.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But then again, when Obi-Wan Kenobi goes and speaks to Jango, he says, I was hired by a man called Taramus.
Yeah.
So clearly, yeah. But I think he knew. I think he knew the plan.
Yeah.
And again, same goes to Nala Se.
Yeah.
I believe, obviously, because she was like one of, I'm not going to say the most, but she was one of the head scientists of the, cloning project.
Yeah.
She obviously knew all about the chip and definitely was part of the downfall of it, in my opinion. 100%.
And she tried covering it up, saying that it was like a behavioural chip because Jango was a bit violent or something. I can't remember.
Prone to violent. So it was an inhibitor chip.
Yeah.
But yeah, she definitely knew. So this is where it gets a little bit. We don't think they know the full story, but they knew it was a thing. So I'm going to start off with Maul. 100%. The way that he speaks to Ahsoka at the end of the Clone Wars, he clearly knew from being under Palpatine, like during the Phantom Menace, just before that. Palpatine was planning on wiping out all the Jedi. He didn't know the full story of how he was going to do it, but he soon pretty much worked it out. He was like, well, the clones are going to be the one. Yep. But he worked that out by himself. But again, he knew.
He definitely knew about Anakin as well.
Yeah. And that he was being groomed by Palpatine for the role of apprentice. Sly Moore. Now, if you don't know who this is the bold, pale-looking woman that you see stood beside Palpatine a lot in the Senate when he gives the speech.
Like the weird cape.
Yes. She is like pretty much one of his closest advisories, so we say. In my opinion, she definitely knew about this because she already knew as well that he was Sidious and Palpatine.
Yep.
So he would have made her aware of the plan. Again, along with Sly, there is Masamada or Masamida. Masamida. That is the blue Senate, the bureaucrat, as Palpatine calls him in the first one, with the sort of horns and the thing. Yeah. He definitely was aware because to me, he was like Palpatine's, not Sidious, but Palpatine's right-hand man.
Yeah.
So Palpatine, he knew Palpatine was Sidious. He also knew the plans for the Empire after the Republic. And so Palpatine would have 100% made him aware of
the changes about to happen.
Yeah. And because Mass was, again, Palpatine's, not Sidious's, right-hand man.
Yeah.
Then we have Fives. Now, this one's very short-lived because obviously he worked out the chip thing from Tup. But then when he was with Sidious in the room, Sidious told Fives, I know we don't see it, but Sidious told Fives he was the Sith Lord and that the Order 66 was to order that all the clones were going to
Yeah.
turn on the Jedi. So he knew about it, but obviously he was taken off the board, shall we say,
Yeah.
by bloody fools. And yeah, it's very sad, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now this one I've put down on the list as possibly, because I'm not sure if he did. We're not too sure, but Tarkin. Now Tarkin was one of Palpatine's most trusted advisors, one of his men. You know when you go you got work and there's a guy there and you're like, he's one of my guys.
Yeah.
That's Tarkin. Tarkin was one of one of his guys. I reckon he would have had some inkling, because he wasn't that big of a fan of the Jedi anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like he'd have had some understanding.
Yeah.
But I don't think he would have known it was coming from the clones or something, because he worked obviously with the Jedi.
Yeah, that's true.
But I feel like he would have known something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a possibility. And that's all the people that we think would have known about.
Yeah, there could be more, but
yeah, you could have mentioned, could Grievous have known? Possibly. But then would that have? I don't think Palpatine would have included him in the plan.
Yeah.
Shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he trusted Grievous that much to give him the what do you call it, the full lay down of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about all the Jedi that survived the initial Order 66, because there's some people on here who survived 66 but then died later.
Yeah.
So do you want to start us off?
Okay. Yoda. Obviously. Because he's in the originals and he was on Dagobah and all that. Obviously he ends up dying, but he'd survived long after Order 66.
Yeah. I think obviously him being the Grand Master and that, obviously he felt obviously the disturbances and that, and he was just well prepared for Gree and the other clone that tried to kill him. Yeah. I
feel like he's one of the Jedi that really feels things before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
He could sense that the clone trooper was coming behind him, and then all of a sudden, with regards to Anakin and things,
he could sense
Anakin came to him about the nightmares, and he knew something was up. So, yeah, I think he's definitely probably the wisest Jedi.
Yep.
That was there. So I think he had a good chance of surviving Order 66.
Yeah. Next up, we have Kenobi. Yep. Again, another obvious one. Defeated Vader / Anakin on Mustafar, then went into hiding. Mm-hmm. Again, those two are obviously so obvious because
it's the most iconic scene in.
Now I'm going to go into. Now we got some more here. We got Cal Kestis. Now we all know that Cal was, he was a Padawan during Order 66, and he survived and went into hiding. Mm-hmm. If you don't know who that is, still, it's the guy from the Fallen Order Jedi Survivor games. Mm-hmm. Now, heads up, this one is a bit of a spoiler, but Bode from Jedi Survivor turns out to be a Jedi who survived Order 66. So, yeah, interesting one. Do you want to go next?
Luminara Unduli.
Luminara Unduli. I love a bit of Undula.
I've seen her in Rebels.
I
Which,
felt really sad with that one.
yeah.
Because she survived the initial Order 66, like she killed the clones that tried to kill her, and then she got in, she like stole a starfighter or something and got shot down and then captured. And then instead of being killed, she got taken to the prison. I can't remember where it was. It was like the Inquisitor prison that they had, where she was tortured and killed.
Yeah.
But then they used the footage of her being taken into custody in the prison gear, shall we say, to lure other Jedi to come save her.
Yeah.
And they used like a hologram of her to you know, try and save her. But then she was long gone.
Yeah.
And that was really sad when I saw that. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because when I first watched Rebels, I was like, oh my God. Like,
Minar.
she's alive.
Yeah.
Going back to Rebels, we have Kanan. Caleb Dune, as he was known, but Kanan.
Well, we got to see him as a youngling in the Bad Batch. Obviously, Order 66 happens at the beginning, and his master saves him. He gets a chance to run away, and then obviously encounters the Bad Batch, but sees that they're clones, and then doesn't trust them.
Yep.
But obviously, you know, people that haven't watched Rebels may not necessarily know who he was. But yeah, it was quite cool how, you know, people before the Bad Batch came out that watched Rebels and then watching that, realising that's Kanan, and then giving him a bit of a backstory, I think was quite cool.
Yep.
But yeah, we got to see how he survived it.
Next up, one of everyone's probably recent favourite Jedi, Grogu. Obviously, Grogu survived. I guess I know he's now sort of no longer a Jedi, but at the time he was in the temple. You know, he survived by the clones. And going on to another Jedi that survived Order 66, Kelleran Beck. Because Kelleran was the guy who got Grogu out of the temple.
I'm the best.
Yes. I'm so glad to see that. And he done such a good job as Kelleran, and I hope to see Kelleran again. Because he looked badass. But yeah, so there's those two. We have Reva from Kenobi. That one's quite an obvious one. You know, she survived getting stabbed by Anakin, but she survived and then joined the Inquisitors. Now that again is like a lot of some of the other Inquisitors. So you've got the ninth sister, Masana Tide. She survived Order 66, but then joined them. That's the same for the fifth brother, sixth brother, and seventh sister. Now we don't know their names, but we do know that they were Jedi during sort of the time of Order 66. So some of these names now you guys are not going to know of, and that's fine because we don't really know of them. Ferren Barr, Coleman Kajai, he was on the council. We have Eve Koff. He's more, I know it because you see him in Attack of the Clones. Yeah, so he obviously survived Order 66 and got hunted down by Vader. We got Taron Malicos, who is the guy from Jedi Fallen Order. We got Jocasta Nu. She survived. The librarian.
Oh, okay. The one that she's like what are you looking for, Master Kenobi? Or whatever. And then he's like, it should be, I'm looking for Kamino, it should be here. And she's like, it was not on our system. It does not exist.
Yep.
And she's quite rude about it.
She's a little bit rude, a little bit stuck up.
Yeah.
But, you know, she done well enough to escape the temple and
Yep.
survive. So fair play to her. We have Oppo Rancisis. I don't know how to say his name. We have Master Uvel. We got Quinlan Voss. Now we know that Quinlan survived because in Kenobi, it was revealed that
he's like, oh, Quinlan was here or something.
Yeah, Quinlan was here, and it was like, yeah, that's cool.
Mm.
So that was cool that he survived. Everyone was thinking he was going to turn up in Kenobi, which I did as well. Not gonna lie. So we got Sarah Junda, who's the person who trains Cal Kestis in Jedi Fallen Order. And then her master, Eno Cordova, survived as well. We also know that Sarah's Padawan, Trilla, Sundari, survived. But she obviously became an Inquisitor as well.
Yeah. I just thought of another one.
Oh,
Baylan from Ahsoka.
well done. Baylan and... Can you remember her name?
No, I don't remember.
Baylan and Sachi?
I'm not sure.
Sati? No.
But
Patrick,
you obviously know Anakin,
Yeah.
so he was
Well
going to
done.
be a Jedi at some point. And then,
Well,
No,
we've been told, confirmed,
Yeah.
that he was a Jedi. Sorry,
there we go.
him and Sati, I think it is. Both of them two, obviously in Ahsoka, were. I reckon the Inquisitor in the Ahsoka trailer, in the Ahsoka show, is going to be Barriss. So there's another one to the list. One or two I haven't mentioned. Nari is the guy in the Kenobi show on Tatooine. He's the guy who goes up to Kenobi and was like, "What happened to you? I thought you were a great man. You were a great master." And Kenobi's like, "Just go away."
It's like, bury your lightsaber.
So he survived. Ahsoka,
Yeah.
again,
An obvious one.
technically not a Jedi, but then yes, he is a Jedi as well. And you can't really do a list of all the Jedi that survived and not have her on it.
I mean, I've heard that because obviously she left the Order, then sort of helped out during Order 66. And then the episode in The Mandalorian where we see her again, it says the Jedi, but apparently it's because, obviously after Order 66 she was in the Rebels show, she became a bit of a rebellion, and then we don't really know what happens to her between that point and The Mandalorian, but apparently, this is what I've heard, that she turns back into a Jedi, and...
Well, if she is, so say, training Sabine, which is very obvious, she must be back in the Jedi and maybe following Luke's new system, new Jedi Order. But she's, in my opinion, she's definitely a Jedi.
Maybe she's speaking to Anakin's Force Ghost.
That's going to be good. That's going to be one to find out. So, yeah, that was all the Jedi that survived Order 66.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is quite a good one that we've got here. So, me and Chloe, do you want to get your list up?
Yes.
So, basically, we've done individual lists on our top 3 saddest Order 66 moments.
Yeah.
Now, we probably might have 1 or 2 that are the same. Possibly, maybe not. But... So we're going to go 3. You do your third, I'll do mine, and then second.
Yeah.
So, what is your third?
Okay. So this is quite sad. So Kenobi realizing that his Padawan has turned. So the scene where him and Yoda are at the temple, and he puts on like the the hologram of like the CCTV footage. I can't remember what it's called. It's not CCTV in Star Wars, but
The hologram.
So yeah, and then Yoda's like, only pain will you find. I can't remember what he says. But obviously then, because he doesn't believe it. Like, he's trained this boy since he was a little kid, and now he's like, oh, he would never come to the temple and do this. But then he looks through the security hologram footage and is just like mortified. And then Yoda says, you're not powerful to battle Palpatine, so you're going to have to go after your own Padawan. So I think it's that realization for Kenobi, like, I might end up killing the one that was supposed to bring balance to the Force, you know? And all that time just, like, wasted. It must be hurtful for him. So that's one of mine.
So is that your number 3?
Yeah.
Okay. So my number 3, I've put Ki-Adi-Mundi stuff.
Okay.
Now, again, I know this is a character not many people like. I'm not a big fan of him myself. But for me, as a kid watching this, and I think his death is one of the saddest because he's like leading the charge with these clones, and he's like, come on, goes charging into the enemy, and then he stops, and then he has a couple of seconds of realization that he's just about to, that the clones have betrayed him and the whole Jedi Order. And there's that little look in his face where he's like he's just realized. And then, in fairness to him, I think he kills like 1 or 2. He blocks like 2 of them and kills 2 of the clones, or 1 of them.
But there's just too many.
There's too many, and he's outnumbered. But for me, as a kid as well, I was like, you know, of shock. But it's just really sad that he had those couple of moments of, oh my God, this is it. This is the end. And yeah, for me, that was really sad.
For those of you who don't know, Ki-Adi-Mundi's the one with like the really tall head.
In other words, what about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
Yeah. That's Ki-Adi-Mundi.
That guy. Okay, so you're number 2.
Number 2. Well, there's in season 7 of the Clone Wars, there's a scene where Captain Rex is kind of getting upset. He's realizing that this is all the chips and everything. It's the entire Grand Army of the Republic. You know, one time they were brothers, and now all of a sudden they can't control themselves, and that's just really, really sad. Because they're brothers, and they, you know, he even uses the stun on his blasters because he doesn't want to hurt them or anything.
Because he knows it's not their doing.
Yeah.
It's a chip.
Yeah. It's not their fault, but it's what they got to live with. And for how many clones there is, like, he knows all these Jedi are like in danger, and there's nothing he can do to stop it. So that's the number.
So that's your number 2. That's quite a sad one.
I know.
Now, interestingly, my number 2 is Commander Rex. You're in violation of Order 66. I accuse you of treason against the Grand Army of the Republic. You'll be demoted in rank from command. You'll be demoted in rank from commander and subject to execution along with the traitor Ahsoka Tano. Oh, Jesse's betrayal. Like, there was a moment before that when it was like Jesse was gonna be like, okay, no, it's okay. Like, the blasters, I think, started to come down a bit. They come back up, and he says that, and it's like, you know, he's not coming back. It's like, God damn it, that. Oh,
I think it's the moment where he says, like, technically Ahsoka's not a Jedi anymore, so how are we supposed to kill her? And he's like, Captain Rex, like,
you gave us orders from Darth Sidious to kill Traitor. Yeah. That was, for me, that's my number 2. That was like, right. Yeah, right. Your
so
number one saddest moment
is Padme's death.
Oof.
And Vader's realization of what he's done.
Oof. Okay.
The iconic no. When he goes, where is Padme? Is she safe? Is she all right? And then Palpatine goes, it seems in your anger you killed her. And he's like, no, she was alive and I felt it. And then he just like crushes everything because he's just like, I've done all of this,
I was responsible.
you know, for nothing. And I think also it's the fear in him that obviously she was carrying a child, or ended up being 2 children, but he at the time thought it was 1. And it's the fear of the loss of them as well. So that's the saddest moment for me, because it's, you know, it's how Vader lived the rest of his life, just in guilt of what he's done. You know?
No, that's a powerful sad moment.
That's the one for me.
Okay, so mine, I've gone for Ayla Secura's death.
Okay.
Now, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, obviously, all of the executions of Order 66, with like the kid, the youngling in the temple that saved Bail Organa, basically.
Yeah.
And, you know, all of those was really sad. But for me, the fact that, especially, I remember this one more as a kid, you know, watching Ayla just get, like, she took one, and then as her body is covered by the leaf on the, you know, on Felucia, they just kept shooting. And it was just like, oh my God.
It's like overkill.
This is brutal.
Yeah.
And the fact as well, when you learn sort of the backstory as well, she had a bit of a relationship with Bly, Commander Bly.
I didn't know that.
And he just was like, yeah.
Oh dear.
It was just so sad for me. I'm just like, oh,
I
it's so
think
good.
also because like Felucia is such like a beautiful planet. There's all these massive flowers and stuff everywhere, and it's like the opposite to that, just like this brutality, and you're just like, oh. And it's the fact they just walk her to this little corner, and then she kind of stares off, and then turns back, and it's like all of the Star Corps just like
Just there.
there.
And they just keep going.
Yeah.
So for me, that's my saddest moment, because I was like, that is,
I get that.
even if she was like a villain, I wouldn't want that. Unlike them.
Yeah.
Unless it's like someone I really dislike. So I got some notable mentions here as well.
I only have one, but
oh, do you want to do yours then?
okay. So my one is at the end of season 7 of Clone Wars. There's scene where Ahsoka's sort of looking at the Ventor going through the hyperspace, and then she feels something, and then you hear like the sound from Revenge of the Sith of Anakin talking to Palpatine and Mace Windu and all that, and he's like, I need him, and all this, and it's the exact audio, and then she just senses something's wrong with Anakin, and then like she goes through the door, and it's like, Rex, something's wrong with Anakin, like we need to go see him or whatever. But I just thought that was a really cool nod to Revenge of the Sith, how they've like put the two together, like you realise that they're both going at the same time.
Yeah.
You sort of see Anakin's point of view of Order 66 and Ahsoka's. So it all just merges it together, and I think that's really cool.
Very joined.
Yeah.
Nice. So obviously I've mentioned Fives finding out about the chip and getting killed. That's, for me, that's a notable one. Jaro Tapol's death. He's the guy in Fallen Order. So there's like a flashback scene where you see like a cut scene as a flashback when you see him defending Cal Kestis, and he fights off so many clones. He kills like so many, but then he like sacrifices himself, taking so many like bullets. Like he just can't save the ball, and obviously like. So yeah, obviously he dies in that one. So that was quite a sad one for me.
Yeah.
Now I've got two here that technically, well, they aren't canon, but for me, I want to give them a mention because they are to do with Order 66.
Yep.
Now, if any of you have seen it, there is a couple of deleted scenes which include different Jedi deaths in the whole clones turning on the Jedi. So there's one where Quinlan Voss dies. So you know the big A6 Juggernaut tanks, the turbo tanks you see on Kashyyyk. They're like the wheels, yeah. So he's on the front of one of those.
Yeah.
And there's another one in front of him.
Yeah.
And basically they like stop. The gun on the back of the other one turns around and then just blasts Quinlan.
Oh, okay.
I was like, woof.
Yeah.
Brutal. There was like Plo Koon was brutal. Basically, he ejects out of his starfighter.
Yep.
But then, as he's like ejected, he gets shot by all the. Oh my god!
Yeah. That was a sad one.
You see Luminara get shot down
Yeah.
as well in this deleted scene. But for me, the worst one is Barriss.
Okay.
This is bad. This is worse than Ayla. I'm glad they didn't include it. So basically, she's leading, or basically she's fighting some droids.
Yeah.
And a ATTE comes up behind her to like help her. And then from point blank range, fires and kills her, and then steps on her.
Oh no!
On her like body, so she gets blasted by the 4 like main gun.
Yeah.
From point blank range, falls to the floor, and then it stands on her. And I was like, yeah, I can see why they didn't include that one.
Yeah.
Barriss got off lightly. Shall we say with that one?
Oh dear.
So yeah, that's our saddest Order 66 moment, shall we say.
Yeah.
So we've got Troopers of the Week.
Yes.
I will do mine first this time. So he goes by the name of King Hero Academy, and basically he makes custom Mandalorian helmets. Now, as you guys know, I'm a bit of a, shall we say, Power Rangers fan. So he basically has made custom ones, and in this video here he's made a custom green Power Ranger Mandalorian helmet. Look at that. That is sick. And he's obviously got the white one as well, and he's got the Mando, he's got an Iron Man one. Wow, incredible. Look, so sick. I would get one of these if I could. Just looks awesome. What a crossover. And again, as a Power Rangers fan, what better crossover than with a Mandalorian helmet as the Green Ranger? So, yeah.
That's super cool.
King Hero Academy, you are my Trooper of the Week, sir.
That's very cool. So mine is someone called CT55516. He's a clone trooper cosplayer. He's a 5A1st. I'll show you a different picture. But I just think his armor is really cool. He's got quite like battle damage 5A1st armor. So yeah, I thought he was quite relevant to Order 66. So that's my trooper.
Nice, good, cool. I think we've got 2 good troopers there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know you guys look forward to this bit now. We have Meme of the Week. Well, yes. Star Wars Meme of the Week. And I'm just going to put it out there. This is one of my favorite memes I have seen in a little while. So this one I picked. This one is from me. It's quite relevant with what's going on at the minute. So here we have Meme of the Week. Choppenheimer. Yes, this is brilliant. In case any of you guys want to know what this is, it's the Oppenheimer poster, but they've added Chopper in front of the nuclear blast because this guy is a menace.
He does so much damage.
And I just think the Choppenheimer. Just
Yeah.
I think it's
Works
great.
so well. It's so relevant as well because you've got Oppenheimer, which is new, and then Chopper, which is going to be in the Ahsoka series, and you know, it's just his name goes so well.
Choppenheimer, yeah, 100%.
He's probably got like the biggest death count in the whole Star Wars.
He's up there as a
Yeah.
droid. He's up there.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's brutal.
Yeah.
But I just thought this was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
I had to make this my my
Meme of the week.
meme of the week. I would definitely be putting this on our pages for you guys to check out. Again, if there is a meme that you find Star Wars wise that you think we will like, send it to us. You know, get it to us, and if it is selected, you know, we'll give you a shout out and show off your meme of the week. So yeah. Good old Choppenheimer. But that's it from us, guys. We hope you've enjoyed our episode 66.
Yep.
Talking about talking about the San Diego stuff and talking about Order 66. Now, this is quite relevant as well. By the time that we end this stream, it is going to be on the 66th. This episode has been going for 66 minutes.
Wow.
So this is the perfect time to leave it before we lose this moment. So from me, guys, we'll see you next week. We've got another good episode ahead. You want to say goodbye?
Good soldiers follow orders.
There we go. There it is. But yeah, so we'll see you guys next week and have a good weekend, and we'll see you guys later.
See you.